Good morning students, welcome to GC Tech Hub CS tutorials. In today's class, we are going to revise some basic formulae and functions which we had studied in class 9th. So we are going to see Unit 7 electronic spreadsheet, and the software which we are going to use is OpenOffice Calc. So students, in this particular chapter, we have to study all the basic functions, basic as well as advanced functions of electronic spreadsheets in all the three software: LibreOffice Calc, OpenOffice Calc and and Excel. So we are going to take up OpenOffice Calc during these offline sessions. So I have this spreadsheet open over here in front of you all. So here you can see that there are some tables which I have already created. So today we will get ourselves acquainted with all the basic formula and functions which we use in Excel, which is the crux of any spreadsheet software. So whether it is Excel or Calc, the functions and formulae used are more or less the same. So let us first start with Autolite Industries, and here we have a product list. So there are a number of products, their prices and their quantity. Price usually refers to per unit price, that is the rate of the items, and what we need to do is we need to calculate the amount for each of these items and the total. So what should be the amount? So we already know that in order to calculate amount, we need to multiply price and quantity. So we have basically, in order to calculate the amount, we multiply price by quantity. So here in Excel, instead of using this multiplication symbol, we will be using this symbol, which is actually an asterisk sign. So this is my general formula for handling any type of operation. So in order to use formula in Excel or Calc, we need to first of all figure out its general formula, and then we will convert this general formula into spreadsheet formula. So in order to convert this into a spreadsheet formula, what do we need to do is we need to first figure out the cell where we would be saving our, where we would be inserting our formula. So here we have the cell over here, that is E5. As you can see, this is the cell E5. So within this cell E5, we are going to insert a formula, and that would be equals price into quantity. So the first price which we see, this is within the cell C5, and the second, the quantity is within D5. So we would be typing the formula like this: C5 into D5, and press enter, and the formula is applied and the value is calculated. On the formula bar you can see the formula here. Okay, and now students, in the very important feature of any spreadsheet application is we do not need to apply formula for each and every row. We need to apply it only for the first row, and for the rest of the rows we are going to use the autofill feature. So every cell, you might have noticed that if you select a particular cell, it has a black colored square at its bottom right corner, which is known as the fill handle. So if we just drag this fill handle down, it automatically copies the formula in all the cells. So if I just click on this fill handle, you can see the mouse pointer is turning into a plus sign. You drag it down and the formula extends to all the rows, and it calculates the values. Now here the type of addressing which we have used is relative addressing. Students, types of addressing in any spreadsheet application is very important. So we have basically three types of addressing in any spreadsheet: relative, absolute and mixed. So relative addressing means the cell address changes with respect to the change in the row or column. So in a formula, the cell address will automatically change according to the change in the row or column. That is, if you are changing the row, if you had used C5 into D5 for the first one, for the next it would automatically take C6 into D6, C7 into D7 and so on, which is actually happening over here. So if I just take the cell into the edit mode, you can see what is the formula being used here. This is C5 into D5, this is C6 into D6, C7 into D7 and so on. For the last cell here, it is C17 into D17. So this is relative addressing. So right now over here, what is changing? The row number is changing, not the column. So we will come across one more example in this where you will see that the row also, the column also changes, right? So at a time, a column might change or a row might change, and if you are copying the formula diagonally, the row and column both will change. So this is how we calculated the amount. Now to calculate the total amount. So here we are going to use a built-in function of Excel known as the sum function. Every function in Excel, it takes up a certain range of cells. What is a range? It is a group of cells or group of adjacent cells. Now that grouping is either done horizontally, where you can see a number of cells which are lying one after the other. So this is a horizontal range, or range could be a vertical arrangement of cells, or it could be a tabular arrangement of cells in the form of a table, including both rows and columns. So here first cell and the last cell, they both form the complete range. So it would be, range is usually in this form: first cell colon last cell. So for some average, count, min, max, any type of function which we use, we will be using this range. So over here I am going to press equals sum. I'll open the bracket, and now I will be using the mouse pointer to select my range. So you can see that I have just clicked on this. I have selected the range and automatically the range appears in the formula. Now close the closing bracket and press enter, and you will find the total sum of all the amounts. Now this was an example of relative addressing. What is absolute addressing? Now absolute addressing means when cell address doesn't change. So if I don't want the cell address to change, I would add a dollar sign before that. Suppose $C$5. This will make the cell address constant. That is, the cell address will not be changed even when the formula is extended across rows or columns. So as an example of this, let us take the case of increase in taxes. So we are going to also add another column over here named taxes, which we would be will not be adding another column taxes, but we would be increasing the price of all the items, right? So how do we increase the price of all the items? So for this I am going to insert another column here How to insert a column? Just go to the column header, right click and select insert columns, and a new column is inserted. Otherwise also we can go to the insert menu and we can go to columns and insert a new column over here. So the name I am giving here is new price. Now what will be new price? Suppose I want to give a 5% increment in the price. 5% increment to the price of all items. So how do I calculate that new price? So first I'll formulate the general formula. New price will be calculated as old price plus old price multiplied by the percent, that is 5 divided by 100. So this is the general formula which we have formulated for calculating the new price. Now using this I am going to actually change it into a calc formula, or we can say a spreadsheet formula. So old price plus old price into 5 by 100. So I'll press equals. My old price is in this cell, that is C5. So I can also use the keystroke, or I can also just press the navigation keys, the arrow keys on my keyboard to move to that cell. Like I move to this cell 5 and you can see that it is highlighted. So plus C5. Now whether you type it in capital letters or small letters, it doesn't really matter. Then multiplied by 5 divided by 100. Press enter and you get 5.25, and then you drag it down. Now the problem with this method is you will have to change this 5 value if there is an increase in the tax. Suppose next time there is an increase in the tax, it becomes 10%. So you'll have to make this 10 and you have to drag the formula again. Why not use a better technique to do this? You all can see that I have also kept this 5 value within one particular cell here, and here you have taxes written. Now taxes is a text, it is a string object, so that is why I have kept it in a separate cell. Make sure that whenever you want to use any number somewhere, it has to be in a separate cell. It is 5%, but this percent sign I have kept separately in the other cell. Because if I add 5% over here, if I write it like this, 5 and percent, then it would change it into 5%. It would make it, convert it into something. So I am not going into that type of a conversion right now. So make sure you keep it separate. Now I am going to calculate the new price. So let me remove everything. And now I'm going to just go to the first cell over here, equals, and now I'll be calculating the tax in this way. First, now you can see I use the arrow keys, C5 plus, again I select the cell C5 multiplied by, and now I'm going to use this cell. I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard to select the cell H2, which contains 5. That is the tax amount, divided by 100. Now I'll drag it down, but I see that there is something. You can see here H3 is used. If I just, you can see that earlier it was H2, now it is H3, as this blank column, this blank cell has been highlighted. Go down and press F2 and you can see H4 is highlighted. So there is no particular change in the prices of items here. That is because here this particular cell, according to relative addressing, it is changing the value. It is changing the cell address from H2 to H3, H4, H5 and so on. So how to make it such that only this particular value is used everywhere? So we have to convert this into absolute addressing. So I'll type here $H $, and now I will drag it down, and you'll be able to see everywhere H2 has been used. So you can see C8, this first C8 or C5, that is changing, but H2 is constant everywhere. So this is absolute addressing. And if I just remove the dollar sign from H but keep it on 2, that will also keep my answer the same. But in this case, it will be like this. I have just used H $2, that is dollar sign only appears before the row number and not before the column. So this type of an addressing is known as mixed addressing. We don't actually require dollar here because H is not changing as we are dragging it downwards. When we drag downwards, the column remains constant. So that is why we can just remove the dollar sign from before the column, but we'll keep the dollar sign before the row. So we have calculated the new price. Now we need to calculate the new amount. So for this we will type equals, and where is our new price? This one multiplied by our quantity. This is the quantity. Press enter and drag it downwards, and you can see the price is calculated, and automatically you can see the sum total is also changed. Now let us use some other functions over here, some basic functions in any spreadsheet like average, min, max, count, count A function, and so on. So you have this average function over here. Firstly, I am going to calculate the minimum amount among these. So what is the minimum amount? So for that I will use the formula MIN, that is min, and I will be providing the range over here. So the range is, you can see the first cell is F5. So I'll type F5 over here, colon, the last cell is F17. So I'm going to type F17 over here and press enter, and you can see 5.25 is the minimum amount. And similarly, maximum amount equals max. Here also what I can do is I can just use my arrow keys to select my cell. So what I did was I used my arrow key first to move to the first cell of the range. You can also move to the last cell of the range. Now keep the shift key pressed and press the up arrow key, and you can see you can select this entire range, square closing bracket, and you get the maximum amount. Now average amount. We know that average is the sum total of all values divided by number of values. And for this we have a function here, average. So for this also we can just select, place our mouse pointer, select one cell, keep the shift key pressed and select all the cells in the range, close the bracket, and average amount is also calculated. Now to count the values. Now students, there are two functions which you can see over here. One is count and one is count A. So what happens with count? So count function, it counts only those cells which contain numeric values. Numeric values are integer values and real number values, right? Those on which you can perform some calculations. Whereas count A function, it basically counts all types of values. Numeric also, your date and time values also, text also, and Boolean values also, that is true and false. So here, firstly I am going to count the number of items. So if I type here total items. So what are the total items here? So equals count, and I open the bracket and I select this range, as you can see over here, that is the serial number range, close the bracket, I get the value 30. Now instead of this, if I had used count and if I had used this range, it would have given me 0. Why? Because these values are alphanumeric values and they are not counted by the count function. So if I want to still use this item name column to count the number of values, I'll have to use the count a function. So I'll use the count a function, select my range, close the bracket, and you can see you get the number of cells containing the values. Now we'll see a simple example here of income and expenses. So this is a table which shows the various income and expenditure done across a number of months. So you can see over here that we have a number of months, January, February till June, that is 6 months. And what is the income of the company? What are the expenditures? That is, the company might have spent some money in purchasing office supplies like stationery, medicines and such, and some office expenditures are there, means it could be like the rent which they have to pay, or the maintenance fee which they have to pay, or and then the wages of the employees are there, the utilities which they use like any housekeeping service or cleaning service or any other water service they are using. So these all are various expenditures which are made in a particular month. जितने भी खर्चे होते हैं एक महीने में वो सारे खर्चे यहाँ पे दिखाए गए हैं. And then what we need to calculate is total expenditure, that is the sum total of all the expenses done, and we need to calculate the net income, that is if I subtract these expenses, the total expenses from the income, I will get the net income which stays in hand. So the formula is given over here, that is total expenses is the sum total of all these values, that is supplies, office, wages, utilities, and net income is income minus the total expenses. So how do I calculate it? So first I start with calculating the total expenses. So I am using the sum function over here and I am using my arrow key to select this range, as you can see. So I get the sum, I get the total expense, and now I will use this fill handle and drag it rightwards to get the total expenses of all the months. Then we have net income. So equals, how will I calculate the net income? First I will select the cell which contains this 12,000 minus, I will select the cell which contains 11,700 and press enter, and this is my net income. So this also, if I drag it rightwards, it will automatically calculate net income for all the months. And now you can see what is changing here. You can see the column header is changing. So the column is changing over here because we dragged the autofill handle towards the right side. So this is an example of relative addressing which is moving towards the right, where the column header is getting changed. Let's take another example, a very simple example here. Happy Journey Travels. So Happy Journey Travels is a travel agency which wants to calculate the total miles and the amount payable for traveling certain places. So like destination was Delhi, and on 2nd of February 2012 there was a tour taken from this city, say Bhopal to Delhi, and the beginning meter reading was this, and this was the ending meter reading. So it is common knowledge that if I subtract the beginning meter reading from the ending meter reading, I will get the total miles. So I will write the formula like this, equals ending minus beginning, and this is calculated. Now I'll calculate the amount, and as you can see that over here I already have the amount which is there in this particular cell as 6.0. The utility of keeping the amount in a separate cell is that later on whenever I need, if I just make one single change in, suppose for example there is a hike in petrol or diesel prices due to which I need to increase the per mile amount, so I can make the changes only once here and it will be reflected everywhere. So amount I'll be calculating as equals total miles multiplied by amount per mile. So total miles is this O4, which I want to change because total miles will be calculated for all the rows, for all the destinations, but I don't want this 6 number to change. So I will be selecting this particular cell which is R4, and now I'll be making some changes in this cell. So I'll take it to the edit mode by pressing F2 key on the keyboard, and I'm going to just make this 4 as absolute. So this I can use mixed addressing as well as absolute addressing over here. So this is absolute addressing and this is mixed addressing. So let me keep it as absolute and press enter, and you see that the amount is calculated. Now I'll select both of these, drag the fill handle down, and you can see that total miles is also calculated and total amount is also calculated. And in total amount you can see that the first cell address is changing but the second one is constant. So this is how absolute and relative addressing are used. We have another table over here which shows the 10 most populated states in India. So you can see the state, their capitals, their area in square kilometers, and the population based on 2011 census. So now you can see there are basically two columns which contain numeric data, area and population. So what I want is I need to calculate the total area, or need to calculate the particular, the maximum area and the minimum area, and the maximum population and the minimum population. So how are we going to do it? So maximum area and maximum population. So how I am going to calculate this? So for calculating maximum area, I will type equals max, and then I will select the whole cell range and press enter, and I get 342239 as the maximum area over here. And for maximum population, I type equals max, and I will select all the population ranges, and I will get the maximum population. Now I'll be teaching one more topic here, that is sorting. What is sorting? Sorting is actually rearrangement of data. If I need to rearrange the data in such a way that I can arrange it in the alphabetical order or reverse alphabetical order in case of textual data, that is alphanumeric data, or if I want to, if it is a numeric data, then I want to sort it in the ascending or descending order of data, or if it is a date time data, then I would like to arrange it in the chronological order, that is where first earliest date to latest date or latest date to earliest date. So this way I can arrange the data. Suppose here I need to arrange all the entire table in such a way that it shows all the states and their capitals in the descending order of their population. So suppose I want to show the state and its capital with the highest population first. So what am I going to do? So just place your cursor, that is select any cell over here, any cell within this range. This is your complete range. Okay, so just keep your cell activated within this range, and now we will go to the data menu over here, and we'll go to sort option, and from here you can sort the data. You can sort the data based on maximum 3 fields, but I am going to first start sorting the data with only one field, that is population. So I want to sort the data based on population, and I want to sort it in the descending order, that is largest to lowest population. Click on OK, and you can see that Uttar Pradesh is the one with the highest population, Gujarat with the lowest population, as it is visible over here. So this is how we can sort the data in our spreadsheet. Now here you can also sort the data based on area. So what we are going to do is, so we'll again keep any of the cell selected here. Now we'll go to data. So students, that was all in today's class. With this, I conclude this video. Kindly practice all the things which have been shown in the video, and I'll get back to you in the next class. Thank you.